follow-ups are irrelevant, but giving value, providing more information and more insights isn't. And so the point I'm trying to make is that most people confuse following up with giving out free value, where you should really only follow up with someone, you should really only bother them in their day if you're providing something that they need, right? So imagine you are trying to have a close, right? And the prospect is on the edge. He's given you an objection that is like, okay, I need to talk to my wife, or I need to talk to my partner, I need to think about it, whatever. You should not follow up with them at all if you don't count on giving them more value. Now, what that means in concrete terms is that if, for example, you do lead generation, then you should give them more information about either your process and how it blends in with their approach, or you should give them more information about the market and how to position themselves with or without you in the marketplace, right? And I would actually argue that the latter option, so that second option, is more valuable because either way, they benefit from the information whether they work with you or not. And that's extremely important because you want to be in a position where you are authoritative, right? When you make an argument, when you propose something and you put it out there, the prospect must feel like they are gaining value whether or not they work with you. For example, sharing that you just made XYZ money for XYZ company and that helped them do that, well, that's useful, right? The lead will benefit from that, but it's not as useful as saying, here is how this prospect made XYZ and how you can do it too. And if your explanation in how you can do it too, it doesn't rely on working with you, but relies on basics, right? Or fundamentals that you cover, but that your prospect can cover if they want by themselves. But we all know that they will never do that because they wouldn't be talking to you if they were counting on covering them alone. But giving them the perception or the perceived chance of them actually being able to do it without you is what will take you from mediocre to insanely powerful in your follow-ups. So that is why I would much rather focus on adding more value rather than just following up, right? So doing a follow-up that is just, hey, checking back in, or hey, maybe this fell through the cracks, or whatever else, that is just a bad way of doing it, okay? And even better, like adding more valuable follow-ups will not just increase the replies you will get from those follow-ups, but they'll overall just increase every single metric in your sales process. So the show-up rates, the qualification rates, the close rates, every single stat will be increased because you're just giving out more, right? Imagine if I were to tell you that I could generate you 90 meetings in 30 days, and if you don't get those meetings, you will have an absolute certainty that I will refund you plus give you, say, $3,000 to say sorry, right? Well, if you are absolutely certain that I will refund you and I will give you those $3,000, then why would you not go with me, right? So this is a question of trust, and just not trust in my word, but also in my abilities, okay? And the way you increase the trust is by positioning yourself as an authority. And again, how do you position yourself as an authority? Well, you give out more than other people would give out. And that is the easiest way to position yourself as an authority. It's not the only way, right? Having a ton of case studies is perhaps the best way, excluding, of course, the free value. But essentially, you have different ways, but the best way and the most versatile way is by giving out free value. And when you think about it, what do you lose when you actually give out free value? You don't lose anything. Imagine you do something that costs you something, right? Imagine you have a client that pays, but actually I had a call with a guy a few days ago that helps CEOs write books. And he does a bunch of stuff for free, upfront, that, cost thousands. But the reason he does them is that his clients are so committed and they see the amount of effort that the guy I was having a call with does, and so they will convert far more than if he didn't do the effort and he didn't spend the money and take the risk, right? So I guess that's a good reminder of taking risk or putting yourself out there, even if that means putting yourself in the negative to begin with, is still a good strategy. And whatever else, people tell you to always take cash up front or stuff like that, I totally agree. But there's a difference between making a no-brainer offer and gaining a lot of money, right? What I'm trying to say here is that with a no-brainer offer, you probably will make a bit less per client because in your no-brainer offer, imagine you sell something for, say, $15,000. Well, you might spend $2,000 in lead magnets, in a pre-qualification, stuff like that, or coaching for free. before the lead closes, but you'll still be making $1,000, right? That is a no-brainer offer. But if you just stuck with the $15,000 and didn't spend anything on the marketing, on the sale, on whatever else, right? On the lead magnets, the coaching, the whatever else you input before the close, well, yes, you will get $15,000, but the number of people you will sign is far, far, far lower, which is why guarantees work so well, right? Because you take the risk on your end to have to refund a client, but the capacity, not the capacity, the close rate essentially just massively increases because you have an offer that is a no-brainer, right? You take some risk, they take some risk. It feels like a shared risk, right? And that is the point I'm trying to make here, is that follow-ups just for following up, they serve no purpose. But if you manage to get an IOU from a client, that is from a prospect, sorry, that is exactly what you're looking for in a follow-up. So that's what you should be aiming for, okay? That should be a KPI. Like, did I get an IOU? And you put a checkbox on every single prospect you have. And if you don't have that IOU, then you have to work more to get it. And yes, it sounds like a lot of work. Yes, it sounds tiring and expensive and whatever. But I mean, when you think about it logically, do you really think that you will get less sales if you do this than if you don't? And if you think on the opposite way, do you think you'll get more sales out of this if you have more IOUs? Well, logically, I'll answer this for me, but you make your own stuff up. But for me, of course, yes, this will make more sales because, you know, the chances of them being receptive to when I make an offer, if they've already received a ton of value from me, are far higher, right? And that's what you want. So this is just a quick reminder for you to up your game in terms of reminders and follow-ups. That being said, it takes a lot of time, and there are ways to mitigate that time spent. The way personally that we do it is that we actually implement systems where we use AI and automation, and we integrate all of that with your CRM to get a bunch of good data on your prospects, and then fire off sequences of emails. So if that's interesting, go on our website and check out, book a call with me, and we'll talk about what type of sequences we can implement for your business. We're already doing this right now for like 5 different people. So it's definitely something where we've seen a ton of value. We actually shaved $50,000 in payroll for a client just by doing that. So definitely powerful, but I'll stop talking about myself here. And I hope you got some good value from this. If you did, you know what to do. And stay tuned for the next ones. 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 Stay tuned for the next ones.